There's another one here that I really want to touch on. It's Marxism versus a nuclear family.
Okay.
This is interesting. So, just three key points here that a lot of people don't know about, and I wanted to read it to you and then tell me what you think. Marxists believe that the family is a tool of capitalism, and its main function is to maintain capitalism and reinforce social inequalities. Marxism is a conflict perspective in the family that argues that the working class, which is a bourgeoisie, they consider the working class. The proletariat is a working class. The bourgeoisie is a middle class. The proletariat is exploited by the capitalists, which is the bourgeoisie, who profit off their labor.
Yeah.
Marx and Engels believe that the monogamous nuclear family emerged from benefits capitalism. According to Engels, the nuclear family promotes inheritance and consequently intergenerational inequality.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Yeah, so that's like a two-part system, like two-part thing, right? So it goes back to what I said earlier. If I'm doing the work, I should get recompensed just as much as what the company's making.
But this perspective is pretty much saying that because you are living in a two-family home, that you are going to have inheritance, and that's false.
The thing is that
because I was raised with both my family, by both my dad and my mom. I'm blessed, and I don't have any inheritance.
No, for sure. But I can see also how it's a capitalistic thing where it's they want the nuclear family. But I don't see that as necessarily something like terrible. It's bad to a certain extent, but it's not terrible just because it's family. And at the end of the day, family is always going to be like what
exactly
it was going to be holding everything together. So like, yeah, sure, there's this guise of like capitalism, but you can easily take off that guise of capitalism and just be like, it just works because we're a family.
And just because, like, for example, I was telling Laz, I'm like, okay, we're building our future, right? And then I'm not gonna give our kids what we're building just because they're our kids. You're gonna work for it.
100%.
So this mentality to me it's more wrong than it is right, because you're assuming that just because I'm building a nuclear family, I'm going to automatically give my kids what I built, and that is wrong. They have to earn it. Yep. They don't deserve it just because we've made them.
I think that's something that has come into our generation more than anything because of late stage capitalism. Because we're living late stage capitalism right now. This is what late stage capitalism looks like, where the worker isn't getting paid as much as they're getting as much as they should be getting paid. We have no rights. It's historically the lowest unionized that we've ever been. I mean, obviously, other than before we had unions, but like,
I mean, unions happened because of the labor was just like we were getting destroyed in labor.
Yeah, and in my opinion, we should still have unions. Unions are very, very important for the economy. Like in T-Mobile, I wasn't like getting fucking slaved, but there's some things that if I had a union, I would be able to like hold my own, to tell my manager like, yo, that's fucked. Like I don't want to do that because, and it's like it's
a hit or miss though, because if you're bad at your job, they can't fire you. And I don't like that either, because it goes against meritocracy.
Yeah,
that's what I don't agree with unions. Like I understand why we implemented them, because they were abusing laborers.
Yeah.
When Carnegie was in power, Rockefeller. That's when the unions became a thing.
So that's the pendulum,
right?
That's the pendulum.
But swinging. Now it's like they're taking advantage to the point that it's like they don't even want us to work 5. They want to try to work 3-4 days a week. Like, mm-hmm. Are you kidding me? Mm-hmm. Like, no, mm-hmm. you gotta work 8 days a week, and that's minimal. Entrepreneurs don't even work 8 days a week. I'm working 12 hours a day, because you're working for a business, and then you're working for your business,
and you're getting a fraction of what I'm getting.
Exactly. So to me, I personally, like, I understand why they created unions. I understand the concept of it back then. It made mm-hmm. sense, but mm-hmm. now it doesn't make as much sense as it did back then.
For certain industries, it does, just because for safety standards and stuff like that, like
for education, bro.
Education, I believe, should have a union, because
there's teachers that don't fucking do their job, though.
Exactly. But then we'll be able to hold them more. Like, it's all about keeping the bad actors out. If you can have a union that's run by good actors that are generally trying to do something good and represent something good, then I believe that should be the standard, because it goes back to something that we talked earlier. It's passion. If you see somebody that's passionate about being a teacher and actually wants to stand up for other teachers,
They should get paid more though.
they should get paid more.
But unions don't pay. They pay equally.
They pay equally.
I don't like that, because then the person that's doing better is gonna
At
get
the
paid
level.
the same as the other person.
But it depends on what level you're at. Because, yeah, sure.
What do you mean what level? Like how many years you've been doing? How many years you've been in the industry?
No, how important your level of education is. Like, as a first grader, how important is your education? It's still important.
Yeah.
It's still important.
Yeah,
I'm not trying to deny that. It's just like at senior year, I'd say it's more important because you're more conscious as compared to a first grade.
Okay, I see what you mean.
Well, like first grade, you're learning how to read and write, and that's so important. That,
Right.
Like that's foundational. It's not without a doubt in my mind. That's foundational, but it's still not as important as somebody like college.
Right, professors make good cash.
Like that's your literal future, and you can still learn to read and write as an adult.
Yeah.
So like there's certain levels to like, and that's teachers, but like at a factory level, if you're just the person that's connecting the cable, you shouldn't be getting paid as much as the one that's fucking running the
Right.
the heavy like.
So it depends. So what you're saying is it depends, which I agree. It depends on how much value are you putting into the industry.
and then make that an equal playing field.
Okay, I understand where you're coming
Like
from.
levels.
But the idea of making everything a union,
Well, a union for the industry, but then.
because then there's no privacy if everything's a union,
No, but you can choose not to be part of the union.
right?
You can choose not to unionize. Like I can be part of whatever company has a union and not be
Like
part of the union.
like all moving companies are anti-unions.
Yeah,
That's an example
that's fine. And even if
for a reason.
even if your industry is unionized, you can still choose to not be unionized. You can still be like,
Yeah,
"No,
like
I'm good."
there's hospitals that are unionized and there's hospitals. that
As long as they're not being like disrespected or like treated differently just because they're not part of the union, that's fine. Like there needs to be some level of respect. Just like if you're not gonna be part of the union, that's fine. You're still gonna get paid this much because you're still at this level, which means that equality still exists. You don't want to be part of the union, that's fine. You just won't get the benefits that we have.
have, yeah.
It's fine.
Which is, yeah, as long as one thing is you giving me the option to opt out, another thing is you
and another
forcing
thing is
me that you can't.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it's freedom.